everyone. I'm Kathleen, and tonight Larry and I are here with Brian Westbrook. Hi, Brian.
Hi guys.
How's it going?
Good to be here. Good, it's great. Thanks for asking me to do this.
Oh yeah, we're excited
watching
that
these.
you're on.
These are great.
Thank you. That's great. I always try to remember when I met the person that we're interviewing, and I just have seen you on stage so much, but I don't remember when you first came my way. So what was your first show at RLT?
First show at RLT was Spamalot, which was 2015, I think. That was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know when I met Brian.
When?
Now, actors, we try not to act like we're big fans of other actors. But I went to see Sweeney Todd, and I liked you so much that I didn't even know you. I emailed you on Facebook to tell you how great you were. I'm sure I had to say, well, I'm an actor too. But I was so impressed with your work. I just emailed you. I've never done that, email a stranger.
That's hysterical.
How great they were.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I remember that. It turns out I'm good at playing sleazy villains who sing really high.
They're fun. They're fun.
They are fun. Absolutely.
Absolutely is right. When did you first get the acting bug?
Oh, wow. So I think I got the acting bug. I was like probably a lot of actors and performers. I was a fan before I was, an actor or got the bug. But I remember the first time I was on stage and really felt like, oh, this could be a huge problem for me. I was in sixth grade. That was like the summer between sixth and seventh grade, and I was doing Oliver at a local college at Westbrook College, and I played the Artful Dodger. And I remember just being in rehearsals. Before that, I just wanted to sing, like a musician. I'm from a family of musicians. But I was in a rehearsal and I got laughs from the cast and director. And I was like, oh, yeah. No, this is going to be a huge problem for me.
So addicting. Oh, yeah.
Not counting the stuff you did in elementary and high school, what was the first show you were actually in?
Not counting anything through high school? So not counting college or what's
when people had to come other than your parents.
That's a good way of putting it.
Wow. So, I guess my folks came to see me when I was in college, and we actually there wasn't much theater when I was in college, but when I left Appalachian, I joined a theater company in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it was a residential theater company, and we did shows, at least, 6 to 8 shows a week, and so I was on stage a lot there. And those are all sketch comedy and rock and roll shows. We would do big musicals that would run 8 to 10 weeks, on Sundays and stuff like that. But we were always performing and doing the sketch comedy and rock and roll stuff, every night of the week.
Wow, that's cool. Did you have a mentor?
So I not a mentor necessarily per se, but I definitely remember when I was in high school, and had already become an obsessive fan, particularly of musicals. And we didn't have a drama teacher because we didn't have a drama program, but my AP English teacher, who was the theater guy in my tiny small town, and he did theater in the summer and stuff. He was definitely, he saw that I was a huge fan. And so he was sharing old musical stuff with me and cultivating that a little bit with me. And I got to do a couple shows. We didn't do much theater at all in high school, but I got to do a couple things with him. And so he gave me my first real education on theater.
That's so great. Has anyone ever given you really great advice about acting?
Yes, he did. And then it's the first advice I remember, and probably still the most important, which was don't act with your ass towards the audience. Actually, what he said was, we were in a rehearsal, and the way he put it is the reason I remember it, because he just sort of stopped the rehearsal, called me over, and he called me over, but in front of everyone. He said, Brian, do you enjoy acting with your ass toward the audience? So I remembered that, and I don't do it anymore.
I think I had that same note.
You still getting it?
Yeah. And don't put your hands in your pockets. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, just because I don't act with my ass towards the audience doesn't mean I haven't shown my ass a couple times.
There you go.
that's good. Do you have a favorite theater or film actor?
So I guess it varies. You know, when right now I think the actor, it's a movie actor that I'm really excited about and known for a long time, but of course recently got more famous. Sam Rockwell is brilliant. And he's one of those guys that's been around for a while and known for a while. And then Three Billboards came out a couple years back, and I just was blown away. And then I remembered him, and I went back and watched all the stuff that he was in.
Oh yeah, way back.
Yeah, and he's the fifth or Hitchhiker's Guide, which is a movie a lot of people don't like, but I love it. But he's hilarious in that. And Falsey Verdon that he just did.
Yeah, it was
the
great.
kind of actor that really kind of takes it seriously, but also just having a ball doing it, having a ball.
My stepdaughter has been living in Brooklyn for 12 years, and she's very young. And she said she was at a bar and she was celebrating her birthday, and all the girls recognized. Sam walked in, and they went and said, "Please come up and tell Rihanna happy birthday. Please tell Rihanna." So he came up and said, "Happy birthday," and Rihanna said, didn't know who it was. Like,
Are you serious?
and he said, "Yeah, thank you," and he kind of walked away like, "Oh God."
That's hysterical.
He said, the guy in Charlie's Angels. Oh, that guy.
Got to give him some warning.
No.
Really. Brian, do you have a bad audition story you would like to share with us?
About yourself, not about your other friends.
All of my audition stories are bad, to be honest.
Oh, stop.
I cannot stand auditions. I tell you what I love. I love a callback, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love a callback. I love doing cold reads with people and playing and that stuff. An audition for like prepared material, always hate it. Never have been happy with them. I've never been happy with them, which it's fine. But I definitely remember one. It was for an RLT show back in the day where my voice just betrayed me. Like I had prepared this big rock and high song and had done it well and knew it really well, but my nerves just got the better of me. I'm more nervous for auditions than I ever am on any other scenario. And it just betrayed me. It was awful. It was really bad.
How long did you not speak to your voice after that?
Yeah, we were not on speaking terms for a long time. No matter how bad it got, I still wouldn't talk to it.
Do you have a favorite show you could talk about?
A favorite show that I've been in, or like my favorite? Oh, that I've been in.
Yes.
I've been in a lot that I like a whole lot, but there are only a couple that like I remember thinking I could do this forever and never stop. I was lucky enough to get to do 2 long runs of Rocky Horror, playing Frankenfurter when I was in Ohio, and talk about a ball. I mean, it was with this theater company that I worked for, which was a sketch comedy theater company. We had this built-in audience that always came ready to laugh and have a ball and have a blast, and we got to interact with them the whole time. And it's such a campy role, and there's all sorts of different like high camp levels you get to play. And I could have done it forever.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Did that part change a lot because of the nature?
It changed. So I got to do 2 runs of it. It did really well the first year that we did it, and so the next year we did it, and we had the good sense to do it around Halloween the next year, so it did even better. And so I had slightly different casts both times, so that changed. But also the second time we did it, we were a lot more intentional about inviting the audience to do callbacks like they do with the movie version of Rocky Horror. And so we even provided sheets for them and let them know like these are the callbacks to do. And so I got to prep, some responses to those, invent some new ones, and do some like, ad-libbing and improv and stuff on stage because it lends itself to that. And I'm a ham, so
Really?
Right.
That's great.
Is there a role you always want to play? You've always wanted to play and haven't played yet?
Yeah, the opposite of a ham. I've always, I'm a huge Sondheim nerd, and I've always wanted to play George Seurat in Sunny in the Park with George.
Yeah.
It's it was my first favorite musical when I was in high school. I saw it on PBS. It came on one time, and I was just blown away by it. And ever since then, it still astounds me every time I see it, or a good production of it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite role.
Oh.
Mine's Maggie in Chorus Line, but
You might have a better shot than I do then, of getting your role.
Really? So you've been on stage in very many different types of roles, but what is the best actor to be on stage with? What are you hoping when you're on stage with somebody that,
I hope it's Larry Evans.
yay.
I'm only slightly pandering. Larry's a blast to be on stage with, because we got to do a show together. We got to do It's Only a Play. My favorite type of actor is someone who has a really perfect balance and antenna for the balance between play and craft, and being on stage and playing with someone and having a good time, but mixing that with craft so that you're able to, at the same time, elevate the performance, elevate the scene, and take it to a different level. If there are sometimes folks who are far too on the play side of it, and nothing ever can get solid or get set. And then there are folks who take themselves far too seriously. That's probably my least favorite, because it's not fun that way. If I'm working with someone who I don't think is having any fun, then it's more difficult for me to have fun.
Right.
Well, and you can't make any new discoveries that way too, if they're just rigid.
Just a solid wall, and it may be a solid performance and everything, but
Right.
I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't fun. And when it's not fun, Lord knows.
yes, you were one step further away from me last night than you were tonight. Can you correct that? It almost threw me off.
Did you change your earrings? Because I can't work with that.
We all have great moments on stage. Can you give us a couple of your great moments?
Great moments on stage. I did musicals most of my. I've been terrified of straight plays. No, it's not terrified of them, but they just haven't come around, and I haven't sought them out. And the first straight play that I did around here was Mothers and Sons at RLT, and I was terrified of that role because it was a dramatic role, and it's a dramatic play and some heavy stuff and everything. And without going too much detail, but there was just one performance where there was just this one moment where it was a high emotional moment. And I'd worked through a lot of it. Tim Locklear was our director, and we'd worked through a lot of how to play that moment and everything, and it had been going well. But for whatever reason, this one particular night, I think it was maybe the second weekend, I played this guy who has a husband and a small child son, and there's this one moment in the play where the son falls off stage and makes a noise, and as a parent, I'm supposed to get frightened and upset, but I've also got this high drama moment happening on stage. And I just got so emotionally terrified for this child, and was really in it. One of those things. Yeah. The best moments on stage like those are the ones that I didn't do it. That was some sort of divine kind of thing that came through me. Mm-hmm. And I remember immediately thinking don't think about it, just go, just keep acting. Yeah. But that's a lot of times in rehearsals, I find the best stuff that comes out in rehearsals, mm-hmm. and somebody say yeah, do that again. I'm I don't know what I did. I do not know. I have no idea. I'm sorry. Right. But you do it long enough, and then you get more of those moments. The more of them happen.
That show was amazing. It was so amazing.
Yeah,
really.
that was a lot of fun to do with Becky J and Chris and Andrew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've used Andrew in a lot of my Apex Christmas shows, and he's such a character, just
Yes,
so
he is.
much fun.
Yes, he is. He loved being able to make that noise backstage every night. That's for sure.
We do.
So-
Kathleen and I did Diary of Anne Frank years ago, and we had a 12-year-old girl playing Anne. Well, one night she was sick, and she just went off stage, threw up in her little bag, and came back on stage.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
She was
It's
more
amazing.
mature than us,
Right.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I know full-grown adults who are like, no, I've got a cold. I'm sorry, I got to cancel. We're like, we don't have understudies around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. She was definitely a role model for us,
Yeah.
for sure. What is the funniest thing that ever went wrong on stage?
Let's see. It's a family audience, right?
Yeah.
Well, not
No, it's not.
necessarily.
Gosh.
No, so there was the entire time I was at Appalachian, we only got to do 2 musicals. It was just a tiny theater department. I was in the music department. I was a piano major.
Oh.
But every time they did a musical, I was definitely going to be there. So they did Pajama Game. We did Pajama Game. And I was just in the ensemble, and I had this just this little quick passing patter back and forth moment with this other ensemble actor in the middle of the opening number. I think it was the opening number. And it's it's back and forth very quick. And I had the first line. And I remember sweeping my broom over to him. This is during performance. We'd already opened. I swept my broom over to him, and out of my mouth came his line. And I saw his face as I was saying his line, and his eyes just got bigger. And it was a fast kind of thing. And he, bless his heart, he thought super quick, and he just spit my line back at me. And in real time, we just traded lines back and forth.
Wow.
And completely changed it. Like, that's the testament to enough rehearsal and enough craft to like know the parts well enough.
Right.
Wow.
And it's not something the audience would ever know, but boy, he did not let me forget it. And I haven't forgotten it either.
Oh my.
If you couldn't be an actor, what's something else you'd like to do in the theater profession?
So I'm from a family of teachers, and I thought about going into teaching for a while. And at the theater I used to work at, I got to do a lot of coaching and choreography and teaching, and I just love it. That's kind of in my blood. So whether that be like, teaching classes or, in a choreographer or one day directing, I'd love to do that too. But in a sort of teaching capacity, I think. I love playing in the pit too. As a musician, it's a blast to do that. But I could never sort of switch to that full time and like take myself and not be able to see what's going on stage and things like that. Yeah.
I have this image of you playing in the pit, and the guy's up there singing, and he's doing a terrible job, and you're just playing the violin, whatever you're playing, like, God, this is awful,
So were you in the pit when the last show I was in? I played in the pit at RLT for a couple shows, and that in particular has never happened.
Yeah.
I have been known to hum and to sing along sometimes when I'm down there, and I've told Michael Santangelo, who's a music director for a lot of them, I was like, Mike, nobody can hear me, right? Like,
right
down here. He's like, no, you're good. I was like, all right.
Oh, okay, good. Just don't get louder than the actor on the stage.
Right.
Well, that's up to them. They need to project.
Right. Brian, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self when you first started performing, what piece of advice would you tell yourself?
I think I would say, go ahead and start listening to your fellow actors on stage now more than you're listening to the audience. Because the first lesson that I learned was listening to the audience, which is still, I think, something that not enough live theater actors do, and reading the audience and understanding the room, and making sure that we're all breathing the same air,
right,
one day, hopefully, again, and making sure that they're part of the experience, that the audience is there. but also it was much later than I realized how much more fun I could have and how much better a scene could be when I really was like playing off what I was getting from other actors. Because I'd always come in with my idea of how I think this is going to go, and I'm going to play it and everything. And once I started really listening to other performers and actors, it just made it so much more fun.
Right.
And I'd like to say it's because, it's a gracious thing and it's the right thing to do. It's like, no, it just makes it more fun. That's why I do it.
It's like a lifeline too. They're your lifeline.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I've done enough shows where you can tell like the audience is not into me tonight,
Oh, look. So the theater I worked at is Shadowbox. We did 6 shows a week, 51 weeks a year. And then in Christmas, we're doing like 12 shows a week. And it's like, every night. But then on Fridays, we used to do what was called the Lunchbox. It was this noon matinee. And it was like, you could bring your business coworkers in, a 45-minute sketch comedy show.
Wow.
You get, serve beer and you can get lunch and stuff. And, it's great sometimes. However, Fridays at noon, sometimes we would have, a room of 10 senior citizens in a theater that seats like 400. And I remember one group came and they didn't do their research because we were a sketch comedy and rock and roll theater. It was rated R. A sketch comedy was rated R. And this senior citizens home came and we had comment cards that we asked people to fill out because we also did our own marketing. So you fill out a comment card, give us your name and your phone number, get you some, discount tickets, but also give us your comments so we can get better. And this man, and you could tell he'd written really hard with his pencil on there. He just wrote 3 lines: too cold, too loud, closed down.
God.
That's it. I was like,
That says it all. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yep.
Right.
Wow. Whew. That's harsh.
yeah. So there's all sorts of different kinds of audiences. But even in a place like RLT with consistent audiences and everything, the difference between one night to the next, and it can be completely different in just what you're hearing from an audience,
Right.
which does not always indicate the level of enjoyment that they're having.
Right.
Some folks are just not going to give you the feedback in that way. And also we're a social, creature. So if some people will not laugh unless they hear other people laugh, and then it just becomes this group thing. And then there can be an audience where like, of all people who are just waiting for everyone else to laugh, they're having just as much fun,
Right.
but they're not going to just be as boisterous and everything. And the job of us as a performer is to just understand and feel the energy, and do what's being rehearsed and make sure that they're with us every step of the way. I've seen not a lot of times, but sometimes, unfortunately, on a Sunday matinee, 3rd or 4th week or whatever, and people just get on there and they assume that the audience is not there having a good time, and their energy level just drops.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but it goes back to fun. I was like, you're not having fun. And then I guarantee that they don't have a shot at having fun because you're not having fun on stage.
Right.
And also they paid the same amount for their tickets. So
And all actors know this, and maybe not audience members. If you're not in the first scene, you're doing a comedy, you're standing there backstage with the other actors. Okay.
Waiting.
This laugh coming. They didn't laugh.
the
Crap.
very first one. Look, it's only a play, the play that we did together. I didn't come on stage for 40 minutes.
Right.
I remember there being an hour and a half call for that. I was like, do I have to be here an hour and a half before? I'm not on stage for 40 minutes. But I remember I always came downstairs at the beginning of that to listen to see and take an initial temperature, see what it was like.
Yeah, it's just up to you now. Let me in there. So what's the first thing you want to do when we no longer are locked down and we're out of this pandemic? You're still young enough.
Well, aside from freely hang out with my friends and folks that I haven't seen and that I haven't been able to see, which is great. But when it comes to theater, man, I want a big old honking musical. I mean, like, I don't really care what, but I mean, like 50 people in the ensemble, like high kicks, full on orchestra, just knock your socks off, honking musical. That's what I want. I don't think I'm alone in that, and I don't really know what it would be, but that's the first one I want.
I just heard June busting all over coming out the song.
Well, we got some Ethel Mermans in this town.
Yeah.
They could do it. They could do it for sure.
That's right. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun finding out more about you. And it always brings back a lot of great memories. You're just a wonderful, wonderful actor, and I just enjoy everything that you do. So I want to thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Thank you. Thank you both for doing this and for taking your time and for everything that you've given back to this community too. You know, your names mean a lot around here. So I really appreciate everything you guys do. And it's nice to finally chat with you, you know.
Thanks, Brian.
And I enjoyed you so much, and it's only a play. It's like, wow, this guy is so good.
Oh, we had fun. That was a lot.
It was great. That was great.
Yeah.
That was great. So, Larry, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, Brian, hopefully we'll see you in person.
Yeah,
soon.
you guys take care.
Yes, thank you. Bye.